From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday, February 13 meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to begin the day with a flag salute led by Cindy Utes, who's our Chief Deputy Director of Human Services. And we're going to follow that. Please remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation as you prefer. Ms. Utes.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Cindy, for doing that for us. We're going to begin our morning with going over our consent agenda. Consent items are indicated with a CA above the number item, and they are considered to be routine by staff and non-controversial, and therefore they're generally voted on with one vote. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or different items that are on consent, a member of the board may remove any item that's done by a board member from consent, and it will be reconsidered in the listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. So let me go over the consent items. Beginning on page 2, there are items 1 and 2 at the top of the page, and then items 6 through 9. On page 3, items 12 through 16. On page 4, items 17 through 23, with the exception of 24 at the bottom. On page 5, items 25, 6, and 7, and then items 29 through 32. And on page 6, items 33 through 37. Are there any members of the public that would like to make a comment about any of those items before we proceed? I don't see anyone. Is there a member of the board that would like to make comment? No. Is there a motion then to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you very much. We're going to have two presentations this morning. One is a proclamation proclaiming February 19 through 23 as National Eligibility Workers Recognition Week in Kern County. That's going to be presented by Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion on proclamation.
Second. Thank you. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Try to stay away.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Today we recognize the men and women of the Kern County Department of Human Services that are known as eligibility workers. Kern's eligibility professionals are dedicated to administering benefits that support the department's mission of ensuring individuals and families in our community are safe and healthy. Currently, eligibility professionals determine and maintain eligibility for more than 78,000 CalWorks, CalFresh, and general assistance cases with benefit issuance of more than $331 million annually. Additionally, due to the Affordable Care Act, these workers have played a crucial role in establishing and maintaining over 155,000 Medi-Cal cases. The provision of all these benefits ensures children, foster youth, individuals, and families have housing, utilities, clothing, food, and medical care. What's more, Kern's eligibility professionals provide accurate and timely CalFresh benefits as evidenced by Kern's CalFresh financial error rate of 1.62%, which is far below the state average of 5.39%. So great job. Kern's eligibility professionals also excel in efficiently processing CalFresh applications as demonstrated by a 98.8% 30-day application processing timeliness rate. Therefore, it's my pleasure on behalf of the Kern County Board of Supervisors to proclaim February 19th through 23rd, 2018 as National Eligibility Workers Recognition Week in Kern County. And thank you to all of our eligibility work professionals for their hard work, not only for us, but for the children and families of our community. And so we have Dina Murphy with us. I would like to present this to Dina, our department head for DHS. And here you are. And this is signed by our Honorable Chairman, Mike Maggard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dina.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Murphy.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Thank you so much, Supervisor Scrivener, for sharing the magnitude of what these eligibility professionals do on a daily basis. I guess what I'd like to talk to you just a teeny bit about is the heart with which they provide those services. The vulnerable walk through the door and they're shaken with the circumstances they're under, and they are greeted with a warm smile and a tender hand and a person who carefully and gently tweezes all the information out of them to not only provide accurate and timely benefits, but also to provide them with compassion and consideration. And I so appreciate my staff, and I'm so very proud of them. And I'd like to just share a little example of the winter recess that just occurred. We needed 100 folks because we're mandated to keep our doors open for a period of time. We needed 100 eligibility professionals to step up, which they did within minutes. And during that time period, they served, I don't want to get the numbers wrong, they served almost 1,600 clients and over 3,000 transactions in just those 3 days alone. So it gives you an idea of the flow of what they do every day. And as Supervisor Scrivener shared with you, they do it with such excellence. I just want to thank you for honoring them and tell you that, you know, I'm just, again, so very proud of the excellent services they provide and their professionalism. It's a tough job, but they do it with grace. And I have an individual here today as we tout all those wonderful numbers and accountability. Cynthia Meinster is one of our professionals who is a supervisor over quality control. So she's the person who holds folks accountable for the work that they're doing and picks up trends and potential errors that could be into the future and then turns the tide before we go through our ongoing audit process. So she's very critical to accountability, but one of our leaders over the staff who's very well thought of. And I'd like to ask Cynthia if she'd like to say just a few words.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Maggard and members of the board. It is with great honor that I stand before you today to speak on behalf of our eligibility professionals that put forth their best effort each and every day to provide excellent service to our most vulnerable citizens who, for one reason or another, have fallen on hard times or experienced hardship and have come to request assistance through our department. As eligibility professionals, we are challenged with meeting the basic needs for hundreds of our neighbors who walk through our doors on a daily basis. The job can be difficult and stressful at times, but through it all, we strive to provide our clientele with the best customer service possible while adhering to the state and federal rules and regulations. We are an agency that promotes self-sufficiency as we actively assist our customers as they prepare for employment and a brighter future for themselves and their families. Our first goal is to ensure our customers receive the services required to maintain their health, their safety, and permanent housing, which helps lead to the path of self-sufficiency. The vast majority of people seeking our services are not looking for a handout, but for temporary assistance and guidance to a better life. During my 20 years of experience with the department, there has been many success stories due to the commitment and dedication of our eligibility professionals. Their passion and respect for the individuals has helped many of our vulnerables gain self-confidence to help them maintain employment and their independence. We strive to provide value to our community and perform essential services with professionalism, compassion, and expertise. Again, thank you for your support and acknowledgement of the work we as eligibility professionals perform each and every day to help better the lives of our community. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
I would just like to draw your attention over my shoulder, and if you would stand, please. We've got Pam Hollywell, the Assistant Director over the group, and a small group of our eligibility professionals representing the rest back at the department today in the district offices, at Kern Medical, at Kinship Center. They are co-located all over the county, geographically deployed to help our vulnerable. So thank you so much for this recognition.
Thank you all for the great job you do. We want to thank you all for the great job that you do. Thank you, Supervisor Scrivener, for making that presentation. Next, we have a certificate of recognition honoring California Resources Corporation, or also known as CRC, on their 20th anniversary of the purchase of the Elk Hills Oilfield. Supervisor Couch is going to make this presentation for us, and I believe we need a vote.
Motion on the proclamation.
Second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, excuse me. I have the honor today of not only presenting a certificate of recognition, but we're also doing a CRC day in Kern County, but we're doing it retroactively. So I'll just read the proclamation. I'm going to turn this over after I'm done with that to Todd Stevens. He's the CEO of California Resources Corporation. The certificate of recognition reads, this is presented to California Resources Corporation in recognition and honor of the 20th anniversary of the purchase of the Elk Hills Oilfield and successful operation in Kern County, and for exemplary public service and civic contributions to the community and to Kern County. It's dated today, February 13th. This one, Mr. Stevens, is signed by all the members of the Board of Supervisors. And this is the proclamation. We are February 13th today, but we are proclaiming, the Board of Supervisors proclaiming of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed February 5th, 2018 as California Resources Corporation Day in Kern County, and this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes signed by our Honorable Chairman, Mike Maggart, dated today, February 13th. Just a word, this is a company that this gave me my first actual job. Back when it was known as Occidental Exploration and Production Company, they've become California Resources Corporation now. I'm sure that my brief tenure there has helped them. But
And what was your job at the corporation?
I was very similar to what you do. I was an accountant. I remember on most of the trips that I was lucky enough to take, I carried another guy's suitcase. That was my primary role. Mr. Stevens?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you so much. On behalf of the men and women of California Resources Corporation, I want to thank you for this recognition. I think it's really great. When you think about 20 years at Elk Hills, it's actually been over 100 years producing as an oil field. We gave you a little book in the bag you have on your desk, commemorating. It has some great photos showing you some Kern County history. But I think it's so important to understand why it's so important. In 20 years since we've owned Elk Hills, Elk Hills has paid over $1 billion in state and local taxes. So remember, when it was part of the federal government, it didn't necessarily pay state and local taxes. CRC, ourselves as a company, we pay over $31 million a year in taxes here in Kern County. So second largest taxpayer in the county. What we do as a company is invaluable for our state and for our nation, providing a safe, reliable, affordable, most importantly, affordable energy to the constituents here in the state is something that goes unnoticed and, in fact, in a lot of cases, unappreciated. But I think it's so important to understand it's something that we take very seriously, and we work hard every day, and we so appreciate the support of the Board of Supervisors here in Kern County. We're in a state sometimes that isn't the easiest to do business in, but we truly do appreciate your support as we try to invest dollars and create jobs here in Kern County. One thing I will say is we take very seriously being good stakeholders and being good community members, and not just here in Kern County, but up and down the state. Our employees take great pride in donating their time and their money to being great community members, and I hope this is part of the recognition here today, because I really am proud of our employees and how they contribute their time and their well-earned money going forward. And I thank you again for this. This is a great opportunity to showcase the great men and women of CRC, and I'm very proud to be here on their behalf. Thank you.
We want to thank you as well, and thank your employees not only for being the great neighbors they are in our community, but your entire company for the great corporate neighbor that they are. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. This weekend is Whiskey Flat Days up in the Kern River Valley, and we're going to have a presentation now from the Kernville Chamber of Commerce, and allow the honorary mayor of Kernville, right, to come forward this morning. Come on forward, you guys. Good morning.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We're here today to tell everybody a little bit about Whiskey Flat Days and what goes on in Kernville. This is a big celebration for Kernville because this is the time we have to raise some money during the off-season. Kernville's been doing this for over 60 years now, and every year we've built up something new. In the last 15 years, we've had an encampment that's an 1800s encampment. Everything is period correct, somewhat like I am today, and everybody's living in tents and having a good time and is willing to teach everybody about the history of the Kern River Valley. I would like to invite you all to come up this weekend, drop by and visit us, because we really want to have some support and some official people coming up to us and being with us. This is Evangelic Eve, and I am the pistol packing preacher Nathan Eddy, and I'm here to change things in Kernville and make sure we don't have to keep things the way they've been going, which is the fact that we have to sell bribes to get elected. Now, our bribes are right here, and we sell them for $1 a piece, and you can win a prize with them, but the only way we get elected is to sell a whole bunch of those. So we're hoping that everybody has some money in their pocket when they come to Kernville and helps us out so that we can raise money for our 3 groups that we're supporting. One is Toys for Tots. We're trying to get money up early before Christmas time for Toys for Tots. The second one is the One Spade Youth Packers, which is a group that is young kids that are taught to work with mules and livestock and go to mule days. And we've taken troubled kids in the past and raised them up to give them some idea of what it is to be what do you want to call it?
Responsible.
Responsible.
Turning them into responsible
there we go.
adults.
I don't know what that word means because I've been a preacher for too long. And our other group is the Camp Keep, which is a school group that sends kids to camp for 1 week and lets them learn a little bit about outdoors and things like that. So those are our 3 groups that we're supporting, and we hope that y'all come out and help us be elected for mayor. Well, thank you for your time.
Anybody else going to speak this morning? No?
Yeah, my name's actually, my real name's Yvonne Pickerell. I am the Toys for Tots coordinator for the Kern River Valley. I have covered Bakersfield twice since the base closed. So I ran 2 campaigns. Last year I ran 2 campaigns. I'm hoping somebody will step up and run a campaign for Bakersfield next Christmas. And so that's why we're raising money for Toys for Tots. And to avoid that whole competition during the holidays, there's a whole lot of worthy organizations. And if I can not have to compete with them, that would be wonderful for them too. The One Spade Youth Packers, we both have kids in that program, and his grandson has been the youth world champion reserve up at Bishop 2 years now. He's hoping for champion this year. They're both very worthwhile organizations. And also want you to come up and root for our frog. His name is Leaping Lazarus, and he's going to win.
We got frog races, we got all things going on all weekend long, so y'all are welcome to come on up, visit with us.
A pistol packing preacher gives a whole new meaning to the altar call. That'll be
Yes, sir, I
interesting
can
to see how
send
that
it to
works.
heaven one way or the other, thank you very much.
Very good, very good. Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wow. Pistol packing Pete, whatever your name is, Nathan. That was the best since I've been here on advertising for Whiskey Flats. You did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So let me get if I understand this right. Your competition isn't here.
They
So by
didn't show,
default,
no.
they what?
We
Well,
win by
now,
default?
you see, our competition's a little bit on the shady side. We got claim jumper John.
Right,
He's
right.
been known to jump some claims and not be seen for a long period of
Right.
time.
I'm wondering about them.
And he's helping his wife run the house that she runs. Her name is Madam Annette. Not to go any further with that, but
We're hoping to
they're
clean the
rather
place up.
reputable people, and I see that's why they ain't here today. They're afraid y'all be taking them in.
Well, you guys have done a great job. Thank you both for coming up. My understanding is that the activities start Thursday. Thursday evening is when the encampment begins.
encampment opens
And there'll be
Thursday.
things to do Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's gonna be parades, there's gonna be rodeos, there's gonna be barbecues, there's gonna be people watching, there's gonna be stalls, there's gonna be all kinds of activities
All
for the
kinds of
entire
vendors,
family.
Yeah, we got vendors at the airport, the golf course, all throughout Kernville.
Weather's supposed to be
Weather's
great.
gonna be
Weather's
amazing.
gonna be
Weather's gonna be
wonderful.
unbelievable,
And we're gonna even show a couple of movies that were shot in the Kern River Valley up at the school, at the elementary school, and they're old movies and part of a new movie that's being shot up there on the history of Whiskey Flat in Kernville.
Evangelically, let me give me those tickets. I'll buy some of those tickets from you. Thank you very
Want some
much.
of these tickets?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll get those from you.
right.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you all
Thank you
very
for
much.
having us.
Next, we go to public presentations, item number 10 on our agenda this morning, and it's an opportunity for the public to come down and make comment to us about anything that is not otherwise on our agenda this morning. So it looks like, sir, are you wanting to speak to us this morning? Please come forward.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Horn. I'm a college student at Bakersfield College, majoring in criminal justice, political science, with the ability to quote the U.S. Constitution by memory at age 6. And I have proof and evidence that Bakersfield College is in violation of so many civil rights laws, as well as violation of public safety. As a non-smoker and someone who overcame a fatal disease called the Min syndrome, smoking has been proven to kill other people if you smoke next to them. I saw them smoking next to a 7-year-old. I asked them not to smoke. As someone who's a preschool teacher, I asked them to not smoke. They told me to shut up, which is violation of my Fourth Amendment, says I have a right to speak about anything, but yet, and also they have a right to listen. And that's endangering the child, endangering me and everybody else around them. And then they told the cops came and started harassing me instead of harassing him when he was the one who broke law. Because it's been proven secondhand smoke kills, just like stabbing someone, shooting someone, having STD, not telling them someone has STD, they get STD. It's all leads us to the same thing, mortal. Attempted murder in the fourth degree, because you don't know who that person might not be a genius, but also that person also might be is a genius like me, who could quote the U.S. Constitution, and there should be attempted mass murder in the fourth degree, which is too high of a risk, because the federal government calls people with ADHD and learning disability geniuses, and I'm one of those geniuses. In fact, I got a second job interview with Homeland Security, and so you might be killing a genius not even knowing it. So they should get arrested, just like stabbing someone, having an STD, not telling them about it, which all ends up in the same job, mortal, and even worse of all, mass murder. Because one of my inventions called the GG robot actually recycles pollution and clean it and use it as food, which ends global warming, and also it also solves the drought, which forces people to use less water. And so I'm actually saving the planet and standing up for my constitutional right, but yet I'm constantly getting shut up by our government. Also, under the 9th Amendment, right to free public education in good public schools. Public means serving the public. Bakersfield College does that. And so by charging us for prints, tuition, supplies, books, you violate that. Right, the 9th Amendment, right to free public education, and the 14th Amendment said no state should abridge on someone else's right without due process, take away all life, liberty, prosperity. By doing that, you're taking all rights away. And they need to let them know they cannot do that under our Constitution. It forbids it. And I want justice. They're threatening to kick me out of school because I'm standing up for my Constitution, and I'm really not. I'm not I've learned not to shut up, and Martin Luther King didn't shut up. He said all men and women are treated equal under his I Have a Dream speech. And I will not shut up like he didn't shut up. I'm going to stand up for our Constitution and fight for our freedom, in court or out of court. My mom, who was a civil rights Latino, put the subpoena, I actually filed subpoenas, disorderly marriage, criminal complaint form, violation of civil rights form, and substitution of employment form for my mother. I did that for my mom when I was 6 years old. Why her opening remarks, closing remarks, and the questions you ask the witnesses while they're on stand. I did that for my mom when I was 6. So I'm not a genius to be reckoning with. I'm a genius that people should listen to and respect, because I am standing up for our Constitution and saving the planet at the same time.
Mr. Horn, have you spoken to the Board of Trustees of the Community College District about BC?
I don't know how to get hold of them.
Okay, Mr. Alsop, could we get his information and his contact information and then call him with the phone number and address and time of when the Bakersfield College Board of Trustees meets? Because I think that's an appropriate place for him to take his concerns. Would that be okay? So, Mr. Horn, if you, when you're done there, could you step over there to, there's a young lady in the front row there that's going to wave at you?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you could give your contact information, we'll contact you about how to reach them. Is that all right?
Yeah, and also I got approved by the Secretary of State of California to actually run for governor this year so I can take back our freedom.
Well, good luck with that, sir. If you can go over there to give your, this way, sir. This way, right there. There you go. Okay, is anybody else who'd like to speak to us this morning about any matters that are not otherwise on our agenda? Could you identify yourself for the record, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is David Brust. I live in the 5th District, and I'm the co-founder of BRAP's Bakersfield Residents Against Pot Shops. And then if I can hand some documents over. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning again. My name is David Brust, and I'm the co-founder of Bakersfield Residents Against Pot Shops, or BRAPs, and I live in the 5th District. With the allegations of abuse of power, conflict of interest, graft, and possible illegal activity regarding the county's cannabis EIR and ordinance, our organization, BRAPs, began conducting an independent investigation several weeks ago. While I'm not at liberty to release our findings at this moment, I can say we are greatly disturbed by what we have uncovered and the lack of honesty and transparency for our public records request. Supervisor Perez has been at the forefront of the development of the cannabis EIR and its corresponding ordinance, and her office has selectively chosen not to release one document, not one email, not a text message, letter, memo, phone message, appointment, or meeting request for the supervisor most engaged in the process. The lack of honesty and transparency in the 5th District leaves us wondering what is being hidden from the public. How can Ms. Perez and her office not have one shred of correspondence? Ms. Perez is not just a supervisor, but an attorney, and appears her office is choosing to violate California Public Records Act, California Government Code 6250 through 6276-48. This lack of transparency is troubling to all of us in the 5th District. We have heard and read accounts of a conflict of interest memo and contract review written by Mr. Nations regarding Supervisor Perez and her husband Fernando Jara's activity in the cannabis industry, and our request to review the memo and contract has been denied by Mr. Nations. To be fair, Mr. Nations has been fair and honest with our public records request and views the memo as protected by attorney-client privilege. He states that Ms. Perez is his client. We are asking the board to release this document to clear up any misconceptions the public has about Ms. Perez's conflict of interest and allow us to put the issue to rest. We also believe the seriousness of allegations put forth in previous meetings of bribery, graft, conflict of interest, and criminal activity has put a dark cloud over the Board of Supervisors in this county. And the only way to remove it is with an unbiased criminal investigation. We urge you all on the Board of Supervisors to ask the Kern County District Attorney's Office to conduct a thorough investigation on the public's behalf and then release all the information gathered. Our organization is willing to share all the information we've gathered to date. We need to bring out any backroom dealings, conflict of interest, or graft, and shed a light on any possible corruption in our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brest. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to us this morning?
David Fluhart, Havilah, 1st District. I always like Whiskey Flats days because, you know, it's bribery and city officials and all that good stuff, but then it takes kind of a serious turn with all this marijuana stuff, so I don't know about all that. But anyways, tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and I saw these cute little cards here, and it says, dream big, sweetheart, and I thought of you guys, so I've got like one for everybody, and my back pockets are full of them. So I can only do the people on the other side of the rail here, but, you know, sorry to the rest of the Kern County employees. But here you guys are. I hope you have a good day tomorrow, and keep your head up. And with all that Whiskey Flats bribery stuff, remember, it's always for a good cause. You know, you can always, like, do this or that for a good cause. So thank you, and you guys have a good day.
Mr. Fluhart, thank you. First time I've ever received Valentine's candy in my public life. Any other members of the public wish to make comment to us this morning?
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Mr. Nations.
Last week, Supervisor Gleason asked me to look into allegations recently made by individuals who have either appeared before your board or who have disseminated written communications making allegations that in part pertain to one or more members of your board. My review of the information that I have been able to collect since last Tuesday reveals the following. All of the allegations have been made by two people, David Abbasi and his lawyer, Abraham Labad. The allegations can be summarized as follows. Mr. Abbasi claims that one or more supervisors have been bribed by unidentified marijuana groups. Mr. Abbasi claims to have heard a supervisor say that Jimmy Yee and Kim Schaefer attempted to bribe a supervisor. Mr. Abbasi claims that he heard one supervisor say that other supervisors have been bribed in connection with the property assessed clean energy matter. Mr. Abbasi claims that Mr. Abbasi's cannabis business, Green Cross Collective, was shut down illegally. Mr. Abbasi claims that the county's refusal to grandfather in a cannabis dispensary operated by Mr. Abbasi was a violation of his rights. Mr. Labad and Mr. Abbasi claim that one or more county officials has referred to Mr. Labad as a, quote, Russian mob attorney, end quote. Mr. Labad and Mr. Abbasi both claim that the county is consciously discriminating against Mr. Labad and his clients, and Mr. Labad believes, based on hearsay reports, that his life has been threatened by Mr. Fernando Jara. As to the allegations involving bribery, such allegations assert serious criminal misconduct, which I do not have authority to investigate. As far as I have been able to determine, neither Mr. Abbasi nor Mr. Labad have asked local or state law enforcement officials to investigate such matters, and to my knowledge, they have not come forward with any factual information to support their allegations. Mr. Abbasi has stated in writing that he, quote, asked for help from federal investigators, end quote, but if true, the unidentified federal investigators have opted not to act. Rather, the bribery allegations have reportedly been used by Mr. Abbasi to try and extort a member of your board. I have confirmed that the extortion attempt is, in fact, being investigated now by the Kern County District Attorney's Office. The district attorney certainly has the authority also to investigate allegations of bribery. As to the other allegations that have been made, I have been unable to uncover any facts which support them. I have reviewed the documentation pertaining to planning's decision to not grandfather in Mr. Abbasi's cannabis dispensary, and the decision appears to be entirely appropriate and consistent with planning's decision on similarly situated illegal cannabis operations. Any support offered thus far by Mr. Abbasi and Mr. Labad for any of their allegations has consisted of second-hand anonymous hearsay and rumors, which, of course, I cannot verify. Based on what I have reviewed to date, I have concluded that what is happening here is a concerted campaign to disseminate false and misleading information in an effort to garner publicity, sow confusion, create mistrust and disunity, undermine confidence in local government, and to intimidate public officials, and perhaps gain some perceived advantage in pending or future litigation. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nations. Any members of the board wish to make comment? Supervisor Gleason.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Nations for following through on that referral in a timely fashion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have board member announcements or reports. Do any members of the board wish to make comment this morning or give a report of anything that you've been up to? Nope. Okay. Let's move on then to item number 24. This is on page 4 of our agenda. And this is a report on results of the 2017 Kern County Cares Can Food Drive. We're going to be joined by Dina Murphy, who is our Director of Human Services, and by Glenn Ephraim, who is the Executive Director of the Gleaners. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Maggard, members of the board. I think this is Kern County at its best, coming together like a team to take care of the vulnerable and provide both dollars and food for what becomes the bridge for the Gleaners Association. Really, it's December through February when there's a little bit of a lull after the first of the year in food, and really when you come in after Thanksgiving, those cupboards are bare, and when our food is delivered, it fills that back up and not only gets Gleaners through the Christmas period of time, but about into February, which is really critical and happens before some of their other campaigns kick off. I'd like to recognize your departments very quickly that participated. There are a few that didn't, and we'll just very gently nudge them into participating next year, I'm sure with all of your help. So if I could read them off, because I'd like to recognize Ag and Measures, Aging and Adult Services, Airports, Animal Services, Assessor, Auditor Controller, Behavioral Health Services, a combination of Board of Supervisors, CAO, and Clerk of the Board, Child Support, District Attorney, Environmental Health, Farm and Home Advisors, Fire, and then a combination of General Services, Park and Rec, and IT, Human Services, Planning and Development, Retirement, and Veterans. So those are your departments who participated for the whopping outcome of, a collective of 41,603 pounds. Almost 25,000 of that was in dollars and 6,400 pounds of food. I have a special recognition that I'd like to give to Dick Taylor. Dick, are you still here? I told him this morning, you're a mighty mite. So Veteran Services, per person, they collected the most poundage. So they may be few, but boy, they're competitive. And you know how Dick is. He's got to win. So Dick, on behalf of all of us, the Department of Human Services, come on up here. On behalf of the Department of Human Services and Gleaners, we'd like to thank you for your achievement of having your individual staff members collect the most per person.
Cool. Thank you.
So it's, again, it's just, I also want you to know that your auditor controller, again, small in people, but they represented that almost $25,000. They represent over $5,000 of that. So they are your department who is given the most in dollars. And the highest food amount collected was through Human Services, and we're larger, so that would be expected. And then you might recall Doug Landon 3 years ago, started a wonderful golf tournament, who this year was led by Tony Bonanno, and they collected $6,700 of those $25,000. So we'd just like to thank the coordinators. They're key for each of the department heads. There's a coordinator established, and they really rally the troops and keep things spirited and get food in for those who are food insecure. And Glenn, would you like to say a couple words?
Certainly. Mr. Chairman, board members, good morning. Thank you. Obviously, there's a lot of business that goes on in the county. And today is just a snapshot of all of those things, and we're just a small item on that list. But to tens of thousands of families in Kern County, this is the most important thing that's happening right now. And we're very appreciative to staff and the County of Kern for their support. As you know, we function solely on donations from individuals, and then we have some corporate partners as well that help us maintain our food business. We've been doing this for 32 years without the benefit of any other outside grants. So it's all activities and events such as this that keep us going, and we thank you for your support.
Mr. Ephraim, it's nice to have you at the helm of the Gleaners. Look forward to participating with you on an ongoing basis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, everyone. Next is item number 28, which is a request to accept a donation. We always like to accept donations from Andy Sullivan. She's going to make the presentation, rather, but the donation is going to be received from the Kern County Library Foundation. Looks like she's joined by Mary Bynum.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to highlight the role that the Kern County Library Foundation has played in securing donations from Tehachapi. Supervisor Scrivener, the Tehachapi community has really given a lot. We asked and they gave over $13,000. We have another $4,000, I think, pledged, not received yet. So I just wanted to highlight that. We have a lot of technology that was bought with the donations, art, manipulatives for kids, early learning materials. So I wanted to also give a shout out to Mary Bynum. She's on the Library Foundation board. Mary, would you just like to say a few things?
Well, I'd just like to say that on behalf of the other trustees of the Kern County Library Foundation, we're very pleased to provide a way to see that designated donations end up at their destination. And the work done at the Tehachapi branch was a labor of love by Andy and her team, a lot of work, and we applaud her effort. You're very lucky to have her as your Director of Libraries. So there you go.
We are indeed. Thank you for your generosity, you and your organization, and we are happy to have Andy as our director.
I didn't come up here for myself, but I did want to say our smallest donation was $10. Our largest donation was $10,000. Wow. So we had a wide range of community donors. Whatever they could give, they could give. So that $10,000 donation was given by the Greater Tehachapi Economic Development Council, and it was for the purchase of 2 3D printers. So we're really excited to get those in and installed for those for the community members. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bynum, Ms. Apple, thank you so much for coming before the board to highlight this item. I want to send a very personal thank you to all the folks from the Tehachapi community that donated. The Greater Tehachapi Economic Development Council is a group that we have a membership with every year out of my discretionary funds. We do a membership with them, and they have been a great community partner and really greatly appreciate their $10,000 donation. Now, Ms. Apple, we have 2 3D printers at the Tehachapi Library. Are there any other libraries in Kern County that have 2 3D printers?
No, Tehachapi is the only one. Beale has 1.
Okay, well, so we are we're leading the pack as far as the 3D printers are concerned, and we know that that's going to be a great asset. And thank you to all for all the donations and to the foundation. Thank you so much, Ms. Bynum. We appreciate it. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Please cast your votes. Thank you.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Very good. You guys have got it going on up there in Tehachapi. That's a good thing. Okay, that concludes our morning's agenda. We are now going to adjourn to closed session. We have some other matters to take care of in closed session, and we'll reconvene here at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Is there a motion to adjourn to closed session? So by Supervisor Gleason, without objection, so ordered. Thank you. We'll see you at 2 o'clock.
Ridgecrest has 3 2D printers.